So, ladies, boys and girls, welcome back once again to the show, to the Watch Show. Before I get into the show, as I have been taught, saludos Thurston. I ask all of you for a thumbs up. Before you even hear my content, before you even hear my truthful content, you just should give me a thumbs up. That's it. Whatever this guy says, give him a thumbs up, and that's it. It's unbelievable. It's a movement, exactly. Nine people are, it's a movement. You're absolutely right, Pete. So I don't have a problem with that. So don't forget to, if you're already here, and you haven't heard what I'm going to tell you, and what I'm always going to tell you is nothing but the truth. So help me God. You know, what you're going to hear today is it's gonna blow your socks off and blow your hair back. And I mean that, because it really blew my hair back and knocked my socks off. And I was lucky enough to been able to have the confidence in this person that spoke to me today. So don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Do that right away. Let this thing keep on going crazy, so they won't, shoot no thunder lightning and hit the TV tower and this, what I'm saying. Anyway, guys, you know that the price of gold is just looking beautiful and hanging there beautiful. Don't get nervous when you see it going like this, and then it goes like this. Don't get nervous. That's nothing big. It's part of the game. It's part of the game. So gold is looking beautiful. We don't have to get into none of this stuff. I'm just gonna tell you, gold is doing beautiful. Silver is doing beautiful. Rhodium, platinum, they're all doing beautiful. I don't know. I don't know if you know this. I don't know, and I think I have told you, because I have spoken to you about this, and I'm going to tell you. I'm talking about no other than you know, the king of watches. The king of watches is the king of watches, no matter what they tell you. No matter what they want to tell you, that's Richard Mille, that is AP, that is Royal Oak, that is Patek Philippe. No, 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 no. It's the king. The king. The king is the king. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Rolex, has a legacy of 975 million legacy. Rolex makes one of the most expensive watch brands in the world. If you don't know this, pay attention, so you know what's going on, so you know where I'm going with this subject. And like I said again, Rolex makes the most expensive watches in the world. And ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know this, you're gonna know it today. You're gonna know it today. 90%. So you understand how big exactly, Pete. Thank you very much for throwing out that crown. The crown, the crown. Thank you for throwing out that crown. 90%. 90%. Good afternoon, Mr. Donut. 90%. In other words, if they make a sale of $100, listen and learn. 90% of that is gonna go to charity. 90%. You imagine a company of that magnitude, that sells something for $100, and whatever profit they made, 90% is for charity. This is how big these people are at Rolex. They are unbelievable. No matter what they try to tell you, that they put a sign out there and in Watch Boulevard, wherever you live at, you're gonna see one brand out there, and that is Rolex. I don't have no doubt in my mind, and today I'm gonna tell you why I don't have no doubt in my mind. They are number one. They will always be number one, and the rest will be number two. Just the rest will be number two. Whichever you want to put Patek and AP and Richard Mille and Vacheron, they'll be number two. But one is Rolex. Don't forget that. Don't let nobody tell you that. No. Rolex is Number one by a long shot, by a long shot, you know. And I'm telling you that because that, you know, that guy Hans, you know, he was. I don't know if you understand this, but you know, Hans was an orphan boy, you know. You know, the man that did Rolex, you know, Hans. You know, he did Rolex, and he was an orphan from the streets. So he believed that, you know, he had to give 90% of whatever he made to charity. This is why they're untouchable. I have always told you that. These people sit around. You know who Rolex sits down with? I keep on telling you. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, J.P. Morgan. You understand me? The Bilderbergers. You know, Bohemian Grove. You know, I can't even do it here, the Bohemian Grove. You know, the owl. Salute the owl. Salute the owl. You know, you salute the owl. No matter what they tell you, Rolex is King Kong. And I'm telling you, you guys are wondering why. Stick around so you can hear and learn this. You know, so you can learn this. And it's unbelievable the things that you get to hear out there. People that trust and believe you. And that's me. Trust and believe in, you know, believe in you. And I told you this some time ago, that all these mama and papa Rolex ADs, you know, catalog Rolex ADs, that they work with a catalog, you know, and they didn't have the money to do a build out, you know. You had to pay Rolex, you know, $1 million, $500,000 to do a build out to fit, you know, what they wanted. And I'm telling you this again because I have to. It's unbelievable. The king of, they're unbelievable. I only have good things to say about Rolex. Rolex, if you're hearing me, I'm not bad mouthing you. I'm just saying you guys are King Kong, and you guys can do whatever you want. You guys do whatever you want, and they can do whatever they want. And so all these mama and papas, they had those Rolex ADs with a big fat catalog, you know, selling out of a catalog, you know, selling you a stainless steel bracelet, you know, selling you, I don't know, a bezel, a dial, whatever it was. They took him out. They took him all out, afuera. They don't want him no more. A patar por las nalgas. A patar por las nalgas. They took him all out. And it's incredible that all those people were like in total shock because they were the first ones to sell Submariners, Daytonas, Datejust. You know, they were the first ones. Those, you know, those mama and papa ADs, you know, and small town, you know, USA or small town, you know, some part in the world. They were number one, Papi, and they took him all out. But these people always knew that Rolex were the king of watches. They always knew it. And ladies and gentlemen, I was pretty much astonished when I got this message, and I started talking to one of those mama and papas that lost, you know, the Rolex because they didn't fit the credentials no more. You know, they couldn't do a built out. They couldn't afford $1 million, you know, to put all the flooring, the cabinets, you know, all that water jet design, you know, Rolex signs. They couldn't afford it. So, you know, they say, you know, thank you so much for your services, but you know, you're out. You know, you're out. That's it. But the thing is that those mama and papas had a relationship with Rolex for, you know, 60 years, 65 years, and they knew that the cash cow in selling watches is no other than the king of watches. King of watches. And ladies and gentlemen, I gotta tell you this so you can understand how this works. And you know, I didn't want to ask too many questions when I was there. I didn't want to ask too many questions, but So this person, he's just now changing batteries and putting, those stretch bracelets on watches, putting, doing something, and you think it's over. There's no more. There are no more Rolex, They're not like us no more. They're not like Rolex no more. So I sat down and we spoke for a while. And to my amaze, listen to me, to my amaze, the gentleman looks at me and he tells me, let me show you something. And he went to the back somewhere. He went to the back. And I sat there. And when he came back out, he came out with two brand new stainless steel Rolex watches in their box, in their new box, the green box, okay, you understand me? And I'm like looking at him, and he says, I have this. And I said, wow, it's incredible. My God, this is something that, you probably still had left over. Me, just saying that to him. He says, no, I have. I said, wow, it's incredible. And he asked no questions. And then he went back again. He pulled out 3 more boxes. Rolex watches, the king of watches, papi. A mama and a papa. They have all the connections in the world. All the connections in the world. You might be scratching your head. How is he getting those Rolex watches? 2025. And I'm there scratching my head, and I don't want to ask too many questions. I don't want to be so, so personal, but I'm looking at him, and he says to me, I have these watches, I bought them, so I'm asking him, so how much do they cost? And he says, well, let me take a look. And he looks, and it's the retail price of the watch. Whatever is the MSRP that Rolex gives, whatever that you see in their website, he's telling me that's the price. And again, I'm scratching my head. I'm scratching my head. And I'm looking at him. I said, how is this? And myself, I'm asking myself, how is he? He says, hold on, are you interested in this watch? Well, so you guys don't, so you guys don't get tired of me telling you this. It was just me and him sitting down, and as time went by, and I'm like telling him, hey, listen, you have so many watches here, we must have in the table 14 boxes of Rolex watches. 14 watches, brand new Rolex watches. And he is no longer an AD. He was an AD that lost his license. And you're asking yourself, how is this person getting all these watches? Well, so, I'm asking you. Exactly. You said it correctly. In the back of the safe, all this was packed of watches. And I'm looking at him. So I tell the gentleman, Mickey Mouse, so this watch right here, how much does it cost me? He says, whatever it says in the AD website is what it costs you. I said, wow, incredible. So I'm like saying to myself, this man is still getting all these watches, and he is no longer a Rolex AD. 14 that I counted, 14. And we looked at each other, and then he had to tell me, are you surprised? And I said, well, now that you're saying if I'm surprised, I'm blown away. He says, yeah. I still could get these watches all day long, every day. I had a 65-year relationship, and I still have all these watches. So just to let you know, any of all those ADs that you believe that have lost their line across the world, across the country, they still have contacts with Rolex, and they're still getting Rolexes. The only thing is, They're not putting it no more in the front, you know, with no exhibition only or whatever. They got it back there. And I was really, you know, I was really, you know, I couldn't believe that this person had so many. I'm talking about 20, 25 Rolex watches with, you know, with everything is in the back, Papa. Everything. So that sketch of that they lost their, you know, whatever you call it, you know, they lost the line. They lost the line of Rolex. They are still getting all the watches they want without the responsibility of fitting the code. And he told me I can get whatever watch I want, and I'm like saying, oh my God, I can get whatever watch I want from Rolex. When you have 65 years under your belt, you know, you have so many people along the line that, you know, they're gonna feel some kind of empathy. You know, this man that, you know, after so many years, you know, he lost the line, and this is how he made his bread and butter, and so somebody has to help him out. So somebody's helping him out, and I was, you know, it's something, yeah, you know, somebody, you know, you lost the line, but don't worry about it. Now you're gonna get all the watches you want. You know, you just lost the line. You know, you pay, pam, 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 pam. Papi, he had everything, man. You know, and I know that, you know, most of you don't know about this, but most of those mama and papas that they lost it, they still have a deep, deep connection with somebody. You know, with a district, you know, manager, something. They have something. You know, and that's how it is. So I wanted to let you guys know that I was blown away with that, and it's incredible because I keep on telling you, even though that you believe that these people no longer don't have it anymore, they still have all the watches you want. They have them all. I was in shock because I asked him, so how much is this? Is what the retail price is? I said, oh my God, the retail price is what they, you know, what this, you know, an AD will charge you, and he's charging you the same thing. But it's all hush hush, and it's all who they believe. Listen to this, is who they believe they can trust. You understand me? No, I'm not gonna tell you who he is, where he's at. That's not your problem. But I'm telling you what's happening. That if you know any of these ADs that have lost the line, they're still in full contact on getting whatever watch. Even though they tell you in your face, no, I can't get it no more. Papi, when you have 50 years under your belt, you have all the contacts in the world. So you mean to tell me that a Muppet Boiler Room secondary gray watch market channel dealer can get all the watches in the world that didn't have nothing to do? They work. These people work for so many, many years. You know, the mother and the father, and then they pass it down to the daughter and the daughter's husband. They're not going to be able to get watches after they've been, you know, you no more. You don't have it no more. They still have it, and I was amazed because it was brand new, fully staker. Check this out. Green, you know, green hologram, hanging hologram, green, white tag. And you're saying, man, and I'm telling you, it makes you think, man, is this for real? You want to hear the punchline now? This is the punchline. While I was sitting there, in my mind, does anybody know what I was thinking? Does anybody know what I was thinking? I'm going to tell you what I was thinking then. I was thinking, man, are these watches for real? Are these watches for real? and you know, you're looking at them, and I believe with the experience that I have, exactly, I'm trying to give you, I'm trying to give you a lead where this is at. You know, you're thinking this watch, and you know, and you touch it, you look at it, and you know in your mind that the watch is 100% for real. You know, 100% for real. And so all these people, you know, are still getting watches, and they lost the line. But whoever was in charge of selling watches to them, whoever was the salesperson that sold watches to that, whatever it was, you know that greasy, oily stuff. However that worked, you know, they feel bad. Look, man, we'll send you, you know, 50, 40 watches so you can, you know, continue paying your rent, and you know, and you have money to buy your groceries because you know you were there with us since the beginning. Lottie, 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 you know. You know, there isn't, but in this case there is, because somebody is, you know, somebody's giving out chocolate bars, you know, somebody's giving out chocolate bars, and these watches were 100% authentic. They were authentic. Now, did I ask where is it coming from? No, I'm not going to ask, because that's not my concern either. My concern is that I believe that something is really happening out there, that you know they have Rolex has lost a lot of their customers to a lot of smaller watch brands, you know, and they saw that, you know, that because they created a hype that, you know, that was unbelievable. They created a hype that the most the most poorest person that had a real humble job wanted a Rolex watch. You know, that's how big it became. And, you know, 21, 22, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, people were begging. You know, people were begging. And that fever, you know, that fever, people wanted that watch. They wanted the king. They wanted the king. No matter what, how, they didn't care. They wanted the king. And so what I'm trying to say is something is happening out there. And we spoke about it. We made a couple of jokes. We laughed a little bit. You know, we laughed a little bit. I didn't want this person to feel like I wanted to, you know, yes it is. It's life. Yes it is. I didn't want to, you know, for him to feel that I was trying to, you know, spook and his thing. No, I let him do all the talking, and that's it. And because I told him, I said I was very, very sad when I heard, you know, that you lost the line, and you had so many years under your belt. And he says, yeah. And he told me, yeah. But then he goes to me, but let me show you something. Like, you know, like he did this to me. Let me show you something. And he went out, he took out stacks of boxes. You know, and this one you can take, this one you can take, this one you want it, this one you don't want it, this one. And I'm like saying, oh my God. So he told me, whatever you need, I have it for you. Whatever you need, I have it for you. And I just wanted you to know that. So, you know, to the back door. No, but see, Mr. Donut, I got to tell you, he's no longer an AD. He's no longer an AD. You know, he is no longer an AD. Get it through your head. He is no longer an AD. If you worked in Ferrari, and you knew everybody in the factory, you know everybody, you know the big shots, the lower shots, this shot. You know, you're gonna, some way, somehow, you're gonna be able to get a pair of Ferrari sneakers. You know, you're gonna be able to get a Ferrari hat. You know, so it's the same thing. You know, with these people that had this line, that they lost it. Please don't forget, guys, that Rolex, at one moment, the way they sold watches, it was with a fat Rolex catalog, from little screws to pins, you know, to all that stuff. Don't forget that, you know. But I was amazed to hear that this man had the all the watches that he had. Don't worry about it. You know, now they're gonna see my video out there, and then they'll start repeating the same thing that I'm repeating it. You know, they'll probably, you know, say it better than me, you know, pressed up, you know, with a nice shirt, you know, nice tie. I'm telling you, wrinkle the way it is. You know, I'm telling you the way it is. And I just sat there. You know, I just sat there and I listened to him, and I didn't want this person to think that, you know, I says, he told me, you know, I know you for many years, and I know all the videos you've made, you know what you've done, and you have spoken the truth on small people out there, and I feel very, very secure me showing you this. You know, it's what it is, you know. And he showed me everything. And if you guys don't know this, I'm telling you, there was a big situation going on with people that wanted, you know, if you wanted to keep your Rolex, you know, authorized dealer, you had to do a build out. I don't know if you know this. If you haven't seen my video on chapter 17, you had to do a build out. And you know, depending on the store, let me tell you, man, you go to some stores around the world, and there's some stores that have a built out of, you know, $500,000, $1 million, and you have one in those special countries that, you know, that has probably $3 million as a built out. You know, if you don't know what I mean, you know, I'm giving you the subliminal message. You put the words in there, you mix it up, and they have these built out. They're unbelievable. But those small town USA mama and papa, you know, from Alabama, you know, I'm just throwing names so you understand, subliminal, you know, that they had that little mama and papa Rolex AD with a big sign, you know, I'm official Rolex dealer, you know. Those people were gone. Yeah, they were gone, but they were not gone from the business. They were not gone, because what I saw, man, left me homeless. And this is something that I'm telling you so you know how to handle. Don't, you know, just because you heard that Pepe, you know, Pepe lost, you know, Pepe lost his authorized dealer. No. They lost it, but they're not out of the game, man. So what I learned was that's another channel, how those watches are being fed to the Muppet Boiler Room secondary gray watch market. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's another way they're being fed. Listen to me. I saw 14 boxes, green boxes, not the old ones, the new ones. You know it, Pete. You know it, Pete. You know it. You know it. And you say it's incredible. You know, when somebody's, you know, remember that those build outs they were making, when they're asking for $500,000 for a build out, and I'm going to tell you this because I'm in the construction business, and I can tell you what it is. I can look see at what they're doing, and I'm telling you that $500,000 build out, you know, a couple of cabinets from them, a couple of signs with their name, a little beige marble on the floor, some wood panels in the walls. Bobby, you're talking about no more than $125. I'm going too high, but I'm gonna say $125. So you know, $375,000 to them in their pocket. You know, but if you wanted it, that's the way it was. You know, and so I just wanted to share that with you. Something else that I have been able to, you know, to have the opportunity to somebody share that with me. In other words, so the same way that I speak to you guys with subliminal messages, this is the same way he speaks to me with subliminal messages, you know? Because I have told them always, I said, but how is it that these people are getting all these watches, you know? There was a show in Miami, right? There was a show in Miami. How are these people getting all these watches with the hanging hologram green tag and the white tag? How are they getting that? And I'm looking at him that he has all that right there in front of my face, you know? So, you know, these people, they lost They lost their whatever it is. They lost the art of, the official whatever Rolex carrier, but they didn't lose the contacts they had in Rolex. And it's crazy. It's scary, because I left out of there like, I had to put the dots together. Does anybody have anything that they want to say or share with me? Because this is the experiences that I pass them to you guys. Exactly. Well, you know how that is. It's a monstruo. It's monstrous. And I want to say also to you guys, because I have always spoken to all those people and I have asked them the question, and you might say, but how do you know that that's a lie that they say that they produce so many Rolexes a year? Rolex doesn't produce a million Rolex watches a year. That's a lie. How do you know? Allegedly, that's a lie. That's all I got to say. That's a lie. That's a lie. So it's crazy what I saw. So open your eyes, and if you left Bill, from wherever you live at, wherever you live at in Canada, go back and visit Bill, because Bill still has all those contacts. Bill still has all those contacts. And I'm going to ask all of you a question now. This is the question now. So let's say I'm the AD, from whatever watch brand it is. Let's say I'm the AD and I lost it. I'm no more licensed, luxury watch authorized dealer, right? But I was working with you guys. I was working with Mr. Donut, with Mr. Blair, with Mr. Pete, with Thurston. I was working with you for 40 years, and suddenly you guys, they pulled the rug under my feet. If I have your phone numbers and I call you up and I say, hey, I need this watch. Let me ask you a question. Will you help me out? We worked together for 40 years. Will you help me out? I want to see somebody answer me that. Answer me that. Okay, we got somebody that says, I will help you. Seguro, there it is, seguro. It's normal, man. It's normal. So, so when okay, it depends. Oh, there it is, it depends. Okay, I just finished telling you, I don't know how can I say it. I work with your company for 40 years. Suddenly I didn't fit no more the right credentials. I wasn't the right size. And, I sold a lot of your watches from a big fat catalog, and batteries and little bracelets and all that good stuff. And now I don't have no longer. I still have your names and your phone numbers. And I call you up, hey, I need this watch. Can you help me out? I would like to sell it. Listen, somebody's gonna stick out and say, let's just help them out. There's a way to do it. They want to just get paid. Pay me, and here it is. So it's yes, yeah, it's hard. So I just wanted to share with you my experience, and you might be saying, damn, Juan, you get to money talks and bull walks. It's true, and I was in shock. And when I finished today with this person, I wanted this person to feel comfortable. I wanted him not to think that I was gonna say, gimme, 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 and walk out. I'm gonna be honest, because if you want to hear the whole story, there was a lot of two-tone watches. There was some all stainless steel watches, professional ones, and there was also stainless steel, Datejust, but he had them all there. And he told me in a very serious matter, if you want this watch, it's going to be a little harder to get. If you want that one, it's going to get a little harder to get. But in the long run, I can get them all. And so he taught me something, and what he taught me was, and this is the other way that a lot of these watches are going through the pipeline to different, to different people, and I'm not going to talk to you guys. I refuse to talk to you guys about, a watch review. If you're looking for a watch review, There's a lot of channels out there that do that. If you're looking for a review on unboxing a watch, I don't do that. I don't do that. What I do here, I teach you. I teach you. I teach you for free. I teach you so much for free that it's stupid. And I just couldn't believe that this is going on. And he told me this, and I'm gonna tell you now. And he says, "Don't think that I am the only one that has lost the watch line, and I'm the only one doing this. The rest are doing it. And you want to laugh? And all of us help each other out. You call me from Arkansas, I'll call you in Savannah, Georgia. You call me from New York, upstate New York, and we all work together. Bobby, this is unbelievable. Listen. I told you the watch industry, la industria de reloj es pequeña, es small, man, it's small, it's real small, real small, y es una jodienda, el negocio de los relojes es una jodienda, remember, anybody that gets lucky in the watch business and has some contacts of watches, you become a millionaire very quickly, guys. I'm telling you this. You become a millionaire very quickly, whether you want to believe it or not. And so you're talking about, like I said, 14. You're talking about 14 watches, and you're talking about the end of the table. You have $300,000. You have $300,000. And I'm looking at him. I'm looking at the store, and I'm thinking to myself, it looks old and tired. Those stores that look old and tired. The cabinets look, they don't look right, but he has $300,000 there on watches. So I'm thinking to myself, how is he getting this? Is he banking this, or is he getting some kind of credit? I'm gonna go so far to say they're even getting credit, man. Because it's unbelievable, and if you look and if you do a research of how many luxury ADs lost the line. There's a lot of people that lost the line, Papa. And all those people are still working and selling watches. I just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope that, helps you in some kind of way. It makes you understand how this business of the watch industry works. It operates. It's crazy. I could have kept on asking more questions, but I didn't. I wanted him to feel free, and he was kind enough to tell me I'm not the only one doing this. We were left. We were left to hang, to dry. Whatever you call that word, left to dry, to hang, to dry. And some people said, no, I can get you this. Because I don't know how many different. I don't know how that works. The part of how these watches are giving out. I don't know how that works still, but I have an idea. When I get that idea, down packed, I will share it with you guys. I was lucky enough to see that today, and I was in total shock. I thought he was just, that he had a couple of friends, ADs, and they're selling him watches too. Well, I think that's part of it too. I think they even still have friends of theirs that have ADs and they're still getting watches themselves. So I hope you can see a little better with this. That in this watch I showed all of you that you can be you can be dropping no names so people won't get bitter and salty. But there it is. I'm not going to be telling you about I bought a watch and I'm going to unbox it and I'm going to have an orgasm when I unbox it. It's not me, man. If you want that kind of content, man, you got to go somewhere else. I'm going to give you content here so you can develop some kind of skills and what's happening. Everybody knows this. It just takes a little longer for some of us to get there, Everybody that's in the watch business knows about this. Do they expect me to find out about it? No. But I'm cool people. I'm good people. So they see my videos. They see my, like Mr. Donor calls it, they see my live streams. And it's what it is. And I just wanted you guys to know that, so you know how to handle that subject. I hope I was able to transmit, right? What's it, transmit, I don't know that word. You guys help me out. You help me out, and then the rest you guys can do. But don't forget the Rolex. That when they sell a watch, it's incredible. When they sell a $10,000 watch, Papi, listen to me. What I'm telling you, you don't have to believe me. Today I'm going to tell you to Google it. To Google it. 90% of what they made on that watch, they give it away to charity. To BlackRock, Rothschild, the Vatican. You understand me? Those people are unbelievable. Those people can do whatever they want. Don't ever forget, no matter what they tell you, that Patek is this one, that AP is one, that Vacheron is one, that guy that did that plastic watch 20 years ago, Richard Mille, was one. It's all bullshit, man. The number one watch brand, whether you want to believe it, whether you like it or not, the name is Rolex. Rolex is the king. You can tell that to anybody. You can take it to the bank, Wicked. You can take it to the bank. No, the Tudor, no, this Daniel Roth, Blank Pain, Brigade, Omega, Papi. The number one watch there is, listen, it's not normal that you go to any jewelry and they'll tell you they have used Rolex watches. Let's call it pre-loved Rolex watches. Pre-loved. Let's call it say after me. Pre-loved Rolex. Somebody loved it before and they sold it. And these watches are being sold. Papi, you don't understand that those people that we laugh at, that we think that they're that CPO, whatever you call it, CPO, the guy from Star Wars, right? CPO, whatever you call it, CP2. We gotta say subliminal words here. It's unbelievable. Those people have been selling millions and millions of dollars of pre-loved watches. So don't forget that, right? We spoke about the subject for 45 minutes, the biggest. And it's still, but listen to me, Mr. Donut, and it's still going on. It's not like, if you hear the way this person was talking to me today, I said, wow. He says, that's a business that's round. Es redondo, papi. It's round, that business. It's a business that is incredible. It's working like a charm. Anyway, I'm gonna give you guys a watch market update, so you guys won't get bored. Because we, like I said again, guys, I said it twice already, but I'll say it one more time. If you're looking for unboxing, straps, this, that, it's not going to happen in this channel. I'm just going to drop to you what you guys need to have in your arsenal to defend yourself from all these cockroaches. There's nobody's going to tell you this, and this is happening, and you can voice it out and you can repeat it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into a watch market update. Our first watch, ladies and gentlemen, is the Rolex Yellow Gold Daytona. Yellow Gold Daytona with a green dial with gold gauges, with the gold gauges. Unbelievable, 40 millimeter. Reference number 126508, 40 millimeter. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't have too much time today to be giving you, retail price and all that good stuff, but I'm I'm gonna help you out with some things here. Don't pay for that watch, and you do whatever you want. Don't pay for that watch more. Don't get scared. Don't pay for that watch more than $73,000 and dropping. You do whatever you want, Papa. The watch market is dead. Don't let them keep on fooling you, papi. La situación está jodida. La situación está jodida. I'm telling you, today, those people over there getting together over there in England, over there in London with the king and the queen, and they're all over there, man. They're over there, preparing everything for us, because what's coming is unbelievable. But you do whatever you want. Ladies and gentlemen, our next watch is the Patek Philippe 5990. Stainless steel with the gray dial. Gray, not the blue dial. Stainless steel with a gray dial. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. Don't pay for that watch more than $94,000 and dropping, sir. You be careful, okay? I wouldn't still pay $94,000, but I'm telling you what it is. You do whatever you want. Look at that, 93, Mr. Dona put. I said 94. Bobby, people, you guys know too much. You guys are awake already. You guys are awake. You do whatever you want. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk to you about a Rolex white gold date 40 millimeter. Reference number 228349RBR. Like Arby's, RBR. Letter RBR. And this is white gold. It has a diamond bezel. It has a pave dial with 2 blue sapphires on the dial. It's white gold. And ladies and gentlemen, I told you guys, a week ago, it's so you understand exactly. But it's so you understand how this watch. I told you something like a couple of weeks ago. I told you don't pay for that watch. So you can hear this, don't pay more than $82,000 for the watch, right? And I'm gonna tell you today, so don't get scared. I'm gonna tell you today, don't pay for that watch more than $74,000 and dropping. All right? So you know what's going on. Okay, look at that, 77. I said 74. I'm telling you what it is. You do whatever you want with this. You do whatever you want with this information. You do whatever you want. Bobby, I'm telling you, Mr. Blair, some people, they know what's going on. I say sometimes to myself that Mr. Donut should open his own channel because, I need help. He can do it and help out. He can do it. He knows what he's doing. And so that's what it is. Our next watch, ladies and gentlemen, is a beautiful watch. It's an AP Royal Oak black ceramic chrono 41 millimeter. Unbelievable, this watch. Reference number 26240CE. CE. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, these watch dealers among themselves, they have tried so much, to hype up this watch model. And it's not getting easy for them. It's not getting easy. And we're talking about the CE, man. When you see TBR, CE, BA, woof, deep, deep, real deep, you're going to get it. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, they have this watch. You said 99,000. That's very good. They have it for 110, 112, and they're there. They're sweating it out. They're sweating bullets, asking for those prices on that watch, and it's incredible. And you're kind of in the right direction, Mr. Blair. But I gotta tell you the truth, I gotta tell you, because you guys are my recovering tomato can friends, and I don't want to see you no longer being no sandbags. I don't want to see you being crumb bums. I don't. I want to leave a legacy. A legacy, is that the right word that I'm using? I want to leave a legacy, of who I am, that you guys say this mother frogger would get in front of that camera, man, he would just drop it, and he just dropped it, that was it. He would just drop it, boom, bop, ping, pop, boom, and people losing their They're lying, the luxury watch line, and then finding out, I get to find out that him in the back, old safe, that old safe, that safe from the 50s, clack, 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 is stacked up with boxes, but he's no longer. He doesn't no longer carry the line, but he has, boxes and stacks of all those watches. But I told you, and you know why I told you? Because I'm stupid like that. I don't get offended when I call myself stupid. It's what it is. It's what it is. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, don't pay for that AP Royal Oak 41 millimeter black ceramic chronograph 26240 CE. Don't pay for that watch more than $92,000, and it is dropping. And now it's taking off, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you go to the stores are full of Halloween decorations, Halloween decorations, and then you have the turkey behind him, and then after the turkey you have Santa Claus, it's incredible. And smart money, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know this, you should write it down and repeat it every day. Smart money is staying away from luxury goods. I'm just telling you what it is. I'm just telling you, what you guys are afraid to say. I'll say it for you guys. I'll say it for you guys. I say it for you guys, and for free. I say it for free. It doesn't cost you nothing. It only costs you a thumbs up, and sometimes it's even difficult for you guys to give me a thumbs up. But I keep on dropping knowledge. It is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk to you about a watch, so you understand exactly. Smart money is buying gold. I didn't say that. Mr. Fiore said that. I'm going to talk about another watch. It's a Rolex Sky Dweller. Beautiful Rolex Sky Dweller with a green dial. Beautiful green dial. With a Jubilee bracelet. Jubilee bracelet. Unbelievable. Unbelievable Jubilee bracelet with the green dial. And this is like a mid-50s retail price watch, 54, something like that. But I want you to see the behavior of this watch, 90, 75, exactly that. Well, that price you put there, 75, Mr. Boeing, it's an unbelievable price you put there. It is. It's an unbelievable price you put there. But it's cheaper than that. Cheaper than that, Mango juice, for the body, It's unbelievable. Jubilee bracelet. Jubilee bracelet. And I'm sorry, Mr. Boeing, if I but that watch, yeah, it was up there in those prices. But they can't find no more, sandbags. They can't find no more crumb bums. They can't find no more. But remember, we're talking about a Rolex Sky Dweller, yellow gold, green dial, Jubilee bracelet. El León de la Selva, El Tarzán. ¡Oh! Tarzán, este es el papá de Tarzán. Yellow gold. No. Yellow gold, green dial. Yellow gold, green dial, Jubilee bracelet. El papá de Tarzán. Tarzan's father. Not the oyster, Jubilee. And ladies and gentlemen, this watch has a retail price in the mid-50s. Mid-50s. And I'm going to tell you this, Mr. Boeing, because you said 75. Please correct me if I'm wrong or right that you said $75,000 for that watch. And I tell you, you're there. You're on point. But it's no longer. It's no longer $75,000. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you do whatever you want. But this is the #1 watch market update show, and chosen by no other than, don't have no doubt, chosen by no other than Fudinki. We've been chosen Fudinki. Mr. Donut, wow, man. I'm telling you, man, Mr. Donut could have his own show. Could have his own show. Look at the price that Mr. Donut put out there. And I'm gonna tell you because I'm stupid like that. Don't pay. Mr. Here it is. Don't pay for that watch more than $71,500, and it is dropping every day. It is dropping every day. You heard it, Mr. Donut. I believe you said $71,000. I have $71,500 because we can't lie here. We got to say the truth. When you guys hit it in the head, I'll give you a ding, 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 ding. And if you know, I just told you, man, you're there. It's what it is, but it's the truth, papi. There's no money out there. The SBA loans are over. The PPP loans are over. The government grants are over. The stimulus checks are over. You know, it's all over. Unemployment checks are over. Employment protection checks for big companies is over. Papi, they were giving checks out for those protection companies, you know, so they can continue paying their clients for 2 years when that thing was going on. You know, they put in your mask, you know, like that. You know what I'm trying to say? The Corona beer, you know, the Corona beer time, they will cut your check for $4 million, papi. $5 million. Are they looking for them today? Of course they are. But they gave it to them. They gave it to them. Papi, get ready for the crash. It's here, man. It's some dark moments coming right now. I'm telling you this so you can keep on looking at these watches and say, man, but that Rolex, yellow gold, Jubilee bracelet, green dial, Sky Dweller, 42 millimeter, that watch was at 90, you know, 80, 79. And it's dropping faster than Bill Clinton's pants in an Arkansas farmhouse. And what am I giving you? I'm giving you knowledge so you can continue saving money. They know it. They know that I'm right. They know it. They know it all. You think that they don't know it? They know it. You know, those, you know, watch backpackers. You know, they know it. You know, you don't think Deputy Boxing Black Eyes knows what I'm talking about? You know? You don't think the Walrus? You don't think the Hungry Hippo, Mr. Magoo? You don't think the two toddler body brothers know it? Come on, man. This is me, Papi, for free. All for free. Ladies and gentlemen, our next watch is a AP Royal Oak 41 millimeter, reference number 15510. Rose gold with a blue dial. Rose gold with a blue dial. You know, unbelievable time machine. You put this watch on and you know, you stand in a corner with that watch and, you know, and with a pair of shorts, you know, some sunglasses, and you had that on your wrist, you know, the mommies, te tiran las panty cagadas. You know, it's unbelievable. If you don't understand what I said in Spanish, you Google it, because I'm not going to tell you. But I am going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, don't pay for that watch. You do whatever you want. You know, I'll repeat it again. AP Royal Oak 41 millimeter, reference number 15510. Rose gold, you know, rose gold. It's not a 50th anniversary, it's just a regular 15510, 41 millimeter rose gold, blue dial. Don't pay for that watch more than $86,000 in dropping. You do whatever you want, Papa. You do, it's your money. You do whatever you want. Listen to this watch. This watch has been going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. This is the Rolex yellow gold, black dial, white gauges, Daytona Lemons, the real Lemons. Unbelievable time machine. Unbelievable, you know? Reference number 126528, 40 millimeter. Black dial, white gauges. Retail price. You know, we talked about that watch. Imagine getting a phone call for that watch. $50,000 is the retail price of that watch. $50,000 is the retail. Hey, Mr. Fiore, Franco Fiore, what will you do if they call you for that $50,000 watch and they offer you $150 from one hand to the other? What do, Franco? Tell me you stay with it. Please tell me you're going to stay with it. Tell me you're gonna stay with that watch, Franco. No, I believe you'll take it, but what will you do? Will you keep it? Or you make the 100 grand? So anyway, guys, this is a watch that was up there in 265. Keep it. Okay, there it is. He's a keeper. He's a keeper. So ask me that question. Ladies and gentlemen, don't pay for that watch. It was at 265, 255, 240, 239, 231. What's the price I'm going to turn out to pay for that watch, ladies and gentlemen? Let's see where you guys are at. Nobody knows what I'm going to say? Well, here it goes. I will flip it, okay? 205, beautiful. Somebody's paying attention. 170, okay, boing. It's a little higher than that, Papa. It's a little higher, but good try. Don't pay for that watch. Don't pay for that watch more than $218,000, and it is dropping. And this watch is dropping because there's no money out there. There's no money out there. You might be saying to yourself, well, I have the money. And yeah, okay, it's you. You're that percentage. You're this percentage, you know? Okay, we're gonna go to our next watch. Is the Rolex Date Platinum. Check this one out, guys. You know, this is the Rolex Date Platinum, 40 millimeter. You know, diamond bezel, like the white gold one. Franco, let's see how good you are here, because you said that the white gold is dead. But this is the same watch, but in platinum. And it has, instead of having the little diamonds on the white gold one, this one has baguettes on the bezel, you know? But the Patek dial is the same thing with the blue sapphire markers. It's the same thing. Okay, so let's see where you guys are at. And it has this beautiful reference number that's going to knock your socks off and blow your hair back. It is the reference number 228396 TBR. TBR. Mr. Dono, tell them what TBR means. When you see TBR, you run to the hills. You know, TBR, you run to the hills. TBR means, you know, off catalog, you know, you have to be un lambón, un palomo, you know, you understand me? Exactly, that's what it equals, you know, and it's a beautiful piece. There you go, Mr. Boy knows it. And ladies and gentlemen, you're talking about a watch that if you put them side to side, you know, one is white gold, one is platinum. And I told you not to pay for the white gold one, and the platinum one, they're asking out there 190, 175, 150, you know, that watch, that price. And I'm going to tell you, so you don't make a mistake, don't pay for the platinum. You do whatever you want. Don't pay for the platinum more than $122,000 and dropping. You do whatever you want. I told you the white gold and the platinum. Basically the same Patek dial with the blue sapphire markers. Coño, Mr. Donut, you're on fire, man. Hey, if anybody's watching Mr. Donut, man, I miss him, or he misses me by 2 or by 3 G's. That's all. That's all I got to tell you, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, our next watch is an AP Royal Oak. Listen to this one. This is an AP Royal Oak, blue dial, yellow gold, 39 millimeter. This is an unbelievable time machine, 39 millimeter. Reference number, pay attention, reference number 25860B as in boy, A as in apple. When you see BA, again, you know, but this watch, for some reason, it hasn't been able to withstand the weather, you know? It's a chronograph with a blue dial, rare blue dial. 210, he's saying, 210. You know, Christopher, you know, I have a lot of respect for you. Boeing, 150. I'm going to repeat this one more time, because the numbers that you guys have thrown out there, I'm in shock. You know, I'm in shock. I don't even have Kino to look at him. I don't even have Kino to look at him today. But the numbers that you have thrown out right now, I think Christopher threw 210, Boeing 150. You know, I saw some numbers there. Okay, you know, I'm going to repeat this watch to you guys. I'm going to repeat it to you. This is the Authorized Piquet Royal Oak, yellow gold, with a rare blue dial chronograph. Google it. Google it. I give you permission to Google it. Reference number 25860. B as in boy, A as in apple. You know, this is an unbelievable time machine. So you understand. Are you guys Googling it? So this watch went in auction in the month of, I think it was July. And the watch sold. So you understand where the watch market is. Christopher, Mr. Boeing, listen up. And it went in auction for $100,000. $100,000, that watch. And I'm going to have to tell you the truth and nothing but the truth. Don't pay for that watch. I feel bad for the person that paid $100,000 in auction in the month of July. Don't pay for that watch. You're off. You're off, but you're there, but you're off. I mean, compared to Christopher and Boeing, you're well. You're well. Don't pay for that watch more than $55,000. 55. You do whatever you want, Papa. You do whatever you want. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a Patek Philippe stainless steel 5164. 51, it's right. 5164. It's what it is, Papi. It's you know, I'm telling you, if you guys want to continue giving your money away like that, there's other places there, you know, they need help out there, you know, and you can do that. You know what they are already, you know, but don't be giving your money away like that, Papa. Don't. I told you, in July, it went in auction and it went for $100,000. And the gentleman that bought it, he thought he was buying the, you know, a piece of real estate, you know, that was going to blow up. Yeah, it blew up in his hand. You got to be, the watch market is dead. Forget about what they're telling you about the vintage world. That's all dead. That's all dead. That's all dead. That's even more dead. That's more dead. Next watch is the Patek Philippe stainless steel 5164 stainless steel black dial, black rubber. And I'm going to tell all of you, you do whatever you want, but don't pay for that watch more than $73,000. I don't know, Mr. Don is going bananas. You know, he's going bananas. That's all I got to say. And this is my last watch market update of the 5164 Patek Philippe Aquanaut. Black dial, black rubber, Christopher. Right? And our last watch of the day, this is an AP Royal Oak Rose Gold. AP Royal Oak Rose Gold. 38 millimeter chronograph, blue dial. You know, a 38 millimeter. You know, some people, they told me, you know, a 38, a 39 is small, right? And they tell me that, and then I see them hanging, you know, walking around with a 37 millimeter, you know, that Vacheron Constantin, the 222, you know, I forgot the name of it, you know, the Hercules, I don't know what the name of it, you know, it's a 37, but you're telling me that a 39 and a 38 is small, but you have a 37, you know, but this is how people are, you know, well, this is the, you know, the way the American people are, you know, it's unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, the AP Royal Oak Rose Gold 38 millimeter chronograph blue dial. What price am I going to tell you not to pay for that watch? This is a beautiful watch. 38 millimeter rose gold blue dial. Beautiful watch. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my last watch of the day. I think we had a great show today. I think you guys learned a lot. You know, we have 30 organic subscribers and 30 thumbs up. That is beautiful. Beautiful number that you threw there, Boeing. Good number. Very good number. But don't pay for that watch. You do whatever you want, but don't pay for that watch more than $72,000 in dropping. That is it. That is the watch market update show for you guys for today. I hope you learned something. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Please don't forget that. That's the good job, Mr. Blair. Good job. Don't forget to do that for us, right, guys? And like I say every week, like I say every other week, take care and brush your hair. Peace, guys. Be well.